Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakanaragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitamscha Om Ajnana Timarandasya Gyanachana Shilakya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Guraganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samastveda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govindabhidam Ujwalam Varatanam Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwagurun Shah Divyad Bhagavat Premnavi Bijapranam Devam Divyatanum Suchandabaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Shidaram Bansha Kopatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyabhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Nama. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Madhya-lila, chapter 20. The Lord instructs Sanatan Goswami. Text number 96. Ihan Prabhur Shakti Prashna Kore Sanatan Apane Mahaprabhu Kore Tattva Nirupan. Formerly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had asked Ramananda Roy spiritual questions, and by the Lord's causeless mercy, Ramananda Roy could properly reply. Formerly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had asked Ramananda Roy spiritual questions, and by the Lord's causeless mercy, Ramananda Roy could properly reply. Now, by the Lord's mercy, Sanatan Goswami questioned the Lord, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally supplied the truth. Krishna's Swarup, Madhuryais, Varya Bhakti, Rasashrayam, Tattvam Sanatanayesha, Kripayo, Padedeshasa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of God, had personally told Sanatan Goswami about Lord Krishna's real identity. He also told him about the Lord's conjugal love, his personal opulence, and the mellows of devotional service. All these truths were explained to Sanatan Goswami by the Lord himself out of his causeless mercy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of God, had told Sanatan Goswami about Lord Krishna's real identity, Krishna Swarup. He also told him about the Lord's conjugal love, his personal opulence, the mellows of devotional service, and the mellows of devotional service. All these truths were explained to Sanatan Goswami by the Lord himself out of his causeless mercy. Tabe Sanatana Prabhu Charane Doriya Danya Binati Kore Dante Trinalaya. Putting a straw in his mouth and bowing down, Sanatan Goswami clasped the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and humbly spoke as follows. Nicha Jate Nicha Sangi Patita Adam Kubishaya Kupe Pare Goinainu Janam. Sanatan Goswami said, I was born in a low family, and my associates are all low-class men. I myself am fallen, and am the lowest of men. Indeed, I have passed my whole life in the well of sinful materialism. Purport, actually, Sri Sanatan Goswami belonged to a Brahmin family because he belonged to the Saraswat division of the Brahmins and was well-cultured and well-educated. Somehow or other, he accepted a ministership in the Muslim government. Therefore, he had to associate with meat-eaters, drunkards, and gross materialists. Sanatan Goswami considered himself fallen, for in the association of such men, he also fell victim to material enjoyment. Having passed his life in that way, he considered that he had wasted his valuable time. This statement about how one can become fallen in this material world is made by the greatest authority in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Actually, the whole world is presently fallen into material existence. Everyone is a meat-eater, drunkard, woman hunter, gambler, and whatnot. People are enjoying material life by committing the 4 basic sins. Although they are fallen, if they simply submit themselves at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will be saved from sinful reactions. Well, here the point is Sanatan Goswami had accepted a position in the Muslim government, and even his name had become changed. So he's considering himself fallen, and that's because he's associating with Muslim persons, and he had adopted some of their habits. Apanara hita kichwina jani gramya vyavahare pandit thai satyamani. I do not know what is beneficial for me or what is detrimental. Nonetheless, in ordinary dealings, people consider me a learned scholar, and I am also thinking of myself as such. So despite considering himself fallen, it is also true that Sanatan Goswami was educated person. Kripa kore jadi more, kore jacha udar, apana kripa te koha kartavya amar. Out of your causeless mercy you have delivered me from the materialistic path. Now by the same causeless mercy, please tell me what my duty is. So, actually, Sanatan Goswami, and it's true, he was in the Muslim government, but he was a high minister. Because of his intelligence, the Nawab relied upon Sanatan Goswami to help guide the state or help serve as a minister. So in this way, Sanatan Goswami materially, he was very qualified. Now Sanatan Goswami approaches Mahaprabhu, and these are the essential questions that he asks him. Kayame keni amai jarita patrai iha nahi jane kemone hitahoy. Who am I? Kayame. Why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble? Keni amai jarita patrai. Why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble? If I do not know this, how can I be benefited? So, a very simple question that is essential for all persons to make. Kayami. What is my real identity? Who am I really? I'm not this material body. Who am I? So, and he asked, and why am I always suffering from the threefold miseries of material existence? Adhyatmic, due to my own body and mind. Adibhotic, due to other persons or other living entities. And adidaivic, due to the forces of nature. So, why am I suffering in this material world? Sadhya sadhana tattva puchite na jani kripa kore sab tattva kehona apani. Actually, I do not know how to inquire about the goal of life and the process for obtaining it. Being merciful upon me, please explain all these truths. Prabhu kohe Krishna kripa tomate purna hoy sab tattva jana tomar nahi tapatroy. Mahaprabhu said, Lord Krishna has bestowed his full mercy upon you, so that all these things are known to you. For you, the threefold miseries certainly do not exist. Krishna Shakti Dara Tumi, Jana Tattva Bhav, Jane Dardya Lage Puche Sadura Swabhav. Since you possess Lord Krishna's potency, you certainly know these things. However, it is the nature of a sadhu to inquire. Although he knows these things, the sadhu inquires for the sake of strictness or for the sake of benefiting other persons, we can say. So, Mahaprabhu recognizes Sanatan Goswami as a sadhu. He says, these things are known to you, but for the sake of properly inquiring from a spiritual master or a spiritual guide, you have posed these questions, just as we could say, Arjuna is temporarily placed in a position of apparent illusion so that he can ask Krishna questions in the Bhagavad Gita, and the answers will be a benefit for others. So Mahaprabhu similarly says about Sanatan Goswami, yes, you already know these things. You're actually not suffering from the threefold miseries, but because you're a sadhu, you want to benefit other persons, so you're inquiring. Achirat eva sarvarta siddhyati yesham abhipsita saddharma shava bodhaya yesham nirbandini mati. Those who are those who are eager to awaken their spiritual consciousness and who thus have unflinching, undeviated intelligence certainly attain the desired goal of life very soon. Yogyapatra how to me bhakti pravartyaite krame sab tattva shuna kohiye tomate. You are fit to propagate the cult of devotional service. Therefore, gradually hear all the truths about it from me. I shall tell you about them. Jivara swarupoi Krishna nityadas, Krishnara tatasta shakti beda bed prakash, Soryamsha kirana jaiche agni jwala chai, Sabhabika Krishnara tina prakara shakti hoy. It is the living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna because he is the marginal energy of Krishna and a manifestation simultaneously one with and different from the Lord, like a molecular particle of sunshine or fire. Krishna has three varieties of energy. Jivar Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas. So everyone is constitutionally Krishnadas, Krishna Nityadas, the eternal servant of the Lord. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains these verses as follows. Sri Sanatan Goswami asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who am I? In answer, the Lord replied, you are a pure living entity. You are neither the gross material body nor the subtle body composed of mind and intelligence. Actually, you are a spirit soul, eternally part and parcel of the Supreme Soul Krishna. Therefore, you are his eternal servant. You belong to Krishna's marginal potency. There are two worlds, the spiritual world and the material world, and you are situated between the material and spiritual potencies. You have a relationship with both the material and the spiritual world. Therefore, you are called the marginal potency. You are related with Krishna as one and simultaneously different. Because you are spirit soul, you are one in quality with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the Lord is eternal, we're also eternal. The Lord is conscious, and we're also conscious. And the Lord is happy, we also have that quality of ananda, of happiness. But we are a living entity, small, jiva soul. Therefore, the quantity of these qualities that we have is minute in comparison to the Lord. Therefore, being marginal, we can also become covered over by taking a position in this material world. Because you are spirit soul, you are one in quality with the Supreme Lord, but because you are a very minute particle of spirit soul, you are different from the Supreme Soul. Therefore, your position is simultaneously one with and different from the Supreme Soul. The examples given are those of the sun itself and the small particles of sunshine, and of a blazing fire and the small particles of fire. And so just like in a fire, if there's a blazing fire, sparks can jump out of the fire. The sparks also have light and heat like the fire, but the quantity is very small. Therefore, when the sparks leave the fire, they can become extinguished. So we are also spiritually, we can say we're like sparks in comparison to the fire, or like rays of sunshine coming from the sun. We have those particles have heat and light, but the quantity is much different than the source. Ekadesha stita shagner jochna vistaraniyata parasya brahmana shaktis tateham akilam jagat. Just as the illumination of a fire, which is situated in one place, is spread all over, the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, are spread all over this universe.
How do you mean that sparks can become extinguished?
Pardon me?
How do you mean that sparks can become extinguished?
I said the sparks of fire, just like a fireplace is burning, and some sparks may jump out of the fire. You see those sparks, they glow, but eventually, within a second or two, they're no longer glowing. That means they become gradually cold. They become extinguished.
If we're like sparks of a fire, we cannot become extinguished.
Well, an analogy is only the points in common. We are not sparks out of a fire, but that analogy is being given to show that we have the qualities of the Lord, but to a minute degree. But in one sense, you can say we're not extinguished, but we are covered over by material bodies, which is, you can say, the sparks. What happens to them? Gradually they just stop. The heat stops, and then they just become little particles of burnt wood or something like that. So we become covered over by a material body. We don't lose the qualities of eternity, and we don't lose the quality of consciousness. We have those qualities. But in this body, those things become covered over, and then, although we're eternal, this body does die. So that's the points in comparison. You already know these things. So I'm going to continue. Just as the illumination of a fire which is situated in one place is spread all over, the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, are spread all over the universe. Ekadeshas ditas yagner jyotsna vistarini yata parasya brahmana shaktis tateham akilam jagat. Just as the illumination of a fire which is situated in one place is spread all over, the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, are spread all over this universe. Krishnadas Swabhavika Teen Shakti Parinati Chit Shakti Jiva Shakti Aramaya Shakti. Lord Krishna naturally has three energetic transformations, and these are known as the spiritual potency, the living entity potency, and the illusory potency. Chit Shakti, spiritual potency. Jiva Shakti, the living entities, or the marginal potency. Jiva Shakti. And Maya Shakti, the illusory potency. Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Chetragyakya Tatapara Avidya Karma Samgyaya Tritiya Shaktir Ishate. Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Chetragyakya Tatapara Avidya Karma Samgyaya Tritiya Shaktir Ishyate. Originally, Krishna's energy is spiritual, and the energy known as the living entity is also spiritual. However, there is another energy called illusion, which consists of fruitive activities. That is the Lord's third potency. So as I was explaining, when we hear an analogy, the analogy is, we're to take from that analogy the points in common, not all the points. Obviously, we were never in a fireplace and we didn't jump out of the fireplace. But the point is being given that we are like spiritual sparks. So when the idea is the spiritual sparks, the sparks are different than the fire. There's a difference of quantity. A spiritual spark doesn't have very great quantity of light and heat. If it jumps onto your cloth, it may or may not burn the cloth. But the original fire can certainly burn everything. You put wood in the fire, it can consume great quantities of wood. But the spiritual sparks, they don't have that same They don't have that same amount of heat and light. Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Chetragyakya Tata Para Avidya Karma Samgyaya Tritiya Shakti Ishyate. Originally, Krishna's energy is spiritual, and the energy known as the living entity is also spiritual. However, there is another energy called illusion, which consists of fruitive activity. That is the Lord's third potency. This is from the Vishnu Purana. Shaktaya sarvabhavanam achintya jnana gochara yatoto brahmanas tastu sargadya bhava shaktaya bhavanti tapatam shreshta bhavakashya yatoshnanata shaktaya sarvabhavanam achintya jnana gochara yatoto brahmanas tastu sargadya bhava shaktaya bhavanti tapatam shreshta bhavakashya yatochnata. All the creative energies which are inconceivable to a common man exist in the Supreme Absolute Truth. These inconceivable energies act in the process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. O chief of the ascetics, just as there are two energies possessed by fire, namely heat and light, these inconceivable creative energies are the natural characteristics of the Absolute Truth. So the Absolute Truth is not inert. Absolute Truth is a person. And as we have some creative energy, the Lord has great creative energy. He can create, maintain, and destroy. We also will find those qualities present in a person. A person can create something, for instance, some enterprise, some company, can maintain that company and can later close that company. But so these qualities that the living entity has, the Lord has, because the Lord is ultimately a person. All the creative energies which are inconceivable to a common man exist in the Supreme Absolute Truth. These inconceivable energies act in the process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. O chief of the ascetics, just as there are two energies possessed by fire, namely heat and light, these inconceivable creative energies are the natural characteristics of the Absolute Truth. Yaya chetragya shakti sa veshtita nripasarvaga samsara tapan akilan avapnoti yatra santatan. O king, the Chetragya Shakti is the living entity. Although he has the facility to live in either the material or the spiritual world, he suffers the threefold miseries of material existence because he is influenced by the avidya, nescience potency, which covers his constitutional position. So by that nescience potency, one forgets one's position in relationship to the Lord, and one identifies with this material body. There is no illusion in the sense that material nature exists, although impersonalists will try to tell you that the perception of this world is illusion. No, the perception of the world is not illusion. What is illusion is to identify oneself with the material body. One is spirit, not matter. Taya tirohi tatvatscha shakti chetragya samgita sarvabhuteshu bhupala taratam yena vartate. The living entity, covered by the influence of nescience, exists in different forms in the material condition. O king, he is thus proportionally freed from the influence of material energy to greater or lesser energies. So when the living entity comes into this material world, one is subject to the three modes of material nature, which is sattva gun, or knowledge, satya gun, then there is tamagun, or ignorance, and also there is rajagun, or passion. So living entity gets a material body, and that can be a human body or can be an animal body, it can be an insect, it can be a tree. And according to the type of body which one gets in this material world, one's original knowledge can be greater or lesser covered over. Perhaps a human being has a possibility of understanding something of his or her original nature, but the animals are more covered over by the material modes of nature, or the tree is covered over. So that's what this verse is saying. This living entity covered by the influence of nescience exists in different forms in the material condition. O king, he is thus proportionally freed from the influence of material nature to greater or lesser degrees. Apareyamitastvanyam prakritim vidime param jivabhutam mahabaho yayedam daryate jagat. Besides these inferior energies, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So living entities are different than the material nature, and they are in this material world due to their identification with the material body. Krishna Buli Se Jiva Nadi Bahirmukh Ateva Mayatari Deya Samsaraduk. Forgetting Krishna, the living entity has been attracted by the external feature from time immemorial. Therefore, the illusory energy, Maya, gives him all kinds of misery in his material existence. So as soon as one comes into this material world, Mahaprabhu explains that one suffers different kinds of miseries. That's why when Sanatan Goswami said, "Who am I, and why am I always suffering from the three miseries of material nature?" That question is being answered here. Forgetting Krishna, the living entity, has been attracted by the external nature from time immemorial. Therefore, the illusory energy, Maya, gives him all kinds of misery in his material existence. When the living entity forgets his constitutional position as an eternal servant of Krishna, he is immediately entrapped by the illusory external energy. The living entity is originally part and parcel of Krishna, and is therefore the superior energy of Krishna. He is endowed with inconceivable, minute energy that works inconceivably within the body. However, the living entity, forgetting his position, is situated in material energy. The living entity is called the marginal energy because by nature he is spiritual, but by forgetfulness he is situated in the material energy. Thus he has the power to live either in the material energy or in the spiritual energy, and for this reason it is called marginal energy. Being in the marginal position, he is sometimes attracted by the external illusory energy, and this is the beginning of material life. When he enters the material energy, he is subjected to the threefold time measurements: past, present, and future. Past, present, and future belong only to the material world. They do not exist in the spiritual world. The living entity is eternal, and he existed before the creation of this material world. Unfortunately, he has forgotten his relationship with Krishna. The living entity's forgetfulness is described herein as anadi, which indicates that it has existed since time immemorial. One should understand that due to one's desire to enjoy himself in comparison with Krishna, the living entity comes into material existence. Kabu Svarge Utaya Kabu Narake Dubai Dundya Jane Raja Jena Nadite Chubai. In the material condition, the living entity is sometimes raised to higher planetary systems and material prosperity, and sometimes drowned in a hellish situation. His state is exactly that, like that of a criminal whom a king punishes by submerging him in water and then raising him again from the water. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, it is stated, Sango Yeyam Purusha, the living entity is always free from the contamination of the material world. One who is not materially infected and who does not forget Krishna as his master is called Nitya Mukta. In other words, one who is eternally liberated from material contamination is called Nitya Mukta. From time immemorial, the Nitya Mukta living entity has always been a devotee of Krishna, and his only attempt has been to serve Krishna. Thus, he never forgets his eternal servitorship to Krishna. Any living entity who forgets his eternal relationship with Krishna is under the sway of the material condition. Bereft of the Lord's transcendental loving service, he is subjected to the reactions of fruitive activity. When he is elevated to the higher planetary systems due to worldly pious activities, he considers himself well situated. But when he is subjected to punishment, he thinks himself improperly situated. Thus material nature awards and punishes the living entity. When the living entity is materially opulent, material nature is rewarding him. When he is materially embarrassed, material nature is punishing him. So sometimes due to one's good karma, one is born in a very good position, perhaps in a wealthy family, and one enjoys life due to that wealth. But then one burns up one's good karma, and eventually when one's karma is depleted, one can fall down into lower positions in life, like being born in a poor family with so many difficulties in life. So the living entity is sometimes in a higher position, sometimes in a lower position. And the comparison given here is that formerly how a prisoner would be punished is that they would chain that person or tie that person to a chair, and the chair would be lowered into the water, and the person's held underwater till the person can hardly breathe, and then the chair is raised up out of the water for a few moments, and then again put under the water as a form of punishment. So sometimes one is in the higher position, like the chair coming out of the water, where one is okay, but then one is submerged in a lower position. So according to our karma, since we are eternal, sometimes we can get a good birth, and sometimes we may be born as an animal or as a tree or somebody in this material world who has difficulty. So it depends on how one utilizes if one performs pious activities, then one can get in the future a good position. Just like even in this world, we see some people are born poor, but they work very hard. They go to a good school, then they get a good job, so they are able to elevate themselves. But then sometimes, even though one is in a good position, one becomes a drunkard, or one becomes just a sense enjoyer, and then gradually one loses one's good position, and one may be even placed in jail or something like that. So due to one's activities, one is elevated, or one is in a lower position, just as a prisoner may be above, strapped to a chair, maybe sometimes underwater as a punishment. Bayam dvitiya binivesha tadshad ishat ape tasya viparya yosmriti tanmaya yato buddha abhajet tam bhaktyayaka yesham gurudeva tatma. Bayam dvitiya binivesha tadshad ishat ape tasya viparya yosmriti tanmaya yato buddha abhajet tam bhaktyayaka yesham gurudeva tatma. When the living entity is attracted by the material energy, which is separated from Krishna, he is overpowered by fear. Because he is separated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the material energy, his conception of life is reversed. In other words, instead of being the eternal servant of Krishna, he becomes Krishna's competitor. This is called viparya yosmriti. To nullify this mistake, one who is actually learned and advanced worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his spiritual master, worshipful deity, and source of life. He thus worships the Lord by the process of unalloyed devotional service. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is an instruction given by Kaviraj, one of the 9 saintly persons called the 9 Yogendras, or the Nava-Yogendras. When Vasudeva, Krishna's father, asked Devarshi Narada and Dwarka about devotional service, it was mentioned that previously King Nimi, who was the king of Videha, was instructed by the 9 Yogendras. When Sri Narada Muni discoursed on Bhagavad Dharma, devotional service, he indicated how a conditioned soul can be liberated by engaging in the loving transcendental service of the Lord. The Lord is the supersoul, spiritual master, and worshipable deity of all conditioned souls. Not only is Krishna the supreme worshipable deity for all living entities, but he is also the Guru, or Chaitya Guru, the supersoul who always gives the living entity good counsel. Unfortunately, the living entity neglects the Supreme Person's instructions. He thus identifies with the material energy and is consequently overpowered by a kind of fear resulting from accepting himself as a material body and considering paraphernalia related to the material body to be his property. All types of fruitive results actually come from the spiritual soul. But because he has forgotten his real duty, he is embarrassed by many material consequences, such as fear and attachment. The only remedy is to revert to the service of the Lord and thus be saved from material nature's unwanted harassment. So there's a very nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhayam dvitiya bhinavesha tadshad ishadapetasya viparya smriti tanmaya yato buddha abhajet tam bhaktyayika yesham gurudeva tatma. So when one is attracted by this material nature, one forgets one's real position and one becomes overpowered by fear. So what does that mean, to become overpowered by fear? Well, as we were saying, the living entity is eternal, spirit soul is eternal. But when we come in contact with this material body, we develop fear. And what is that fear? Some fear of death. One is in different situations. We have seen when people are faced with death, then they become very fearful. Oh, I don't want to die. But actually you're an eternal spirit soul. But because you're in attachment to this material body, you've forgotten your nature, and now you become fearful. Everyone in this world, at the time of death, they can become fearful. They're afraid of dying. So that's the first thing. Although one is eternal, one forgets that by identifying with his body, and one becomes fearful. And then there is also what is referred to here is a role reversal. As Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas. Everyone's the eternal servant of Krishna. But one has forgotten that. And in this material world, actually one becomes Krishna's competitor. Everyone thinks, why should I... It's like in Milton's Paradise Lost. The position of the devil is the devil prefers not to serve in heaven, but to reign in hell. So one would prefer, rather than be a servant of the Lord in the spiritual position, one wants to rule this material nature. One wants to, I want to become an important person in this world. So in its essence, one forgets one's position as being a servant of Krishna, and one becomes Krishna's competitor. The word is Purusha. One wants to be the enjoyer. People want to be, instead of thinking that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and I'm meant for the service of the Lord, people forget that and they want to become the enjoyer. And then they want to utilize everybody else for their own enjoyment. That everyone should help me enjoy this material world. That becomes, in essence, the mentality of people. That other people are only here to be utilized by me for my enjoyment. It's a very wrong conception of life. But that's what this verse is explaining. It's an important verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. That when one comes in contact with this material world, one becomes, first of all, fearful, and also, instead of being Krishna's eternal servant, one becomes Krishna's competitor. There's a very wrong conception of life. So anyway, tomorrow I'm going to continue. Today we have some things to take care of. Esther, you come here and then you will take breakfast and you can prepare yourself for taking initiation.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to sing Hari Haraya and then we'll continue. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaramaya Nama Jaramaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Madanaman Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Janardan Shiva Sadi Gora Makta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raguna Jai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Te Vignana Shabista Puran Jai Gosai Jarmui Taradan Tasabar Padarinu Mora Panchagas Tade Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame More Abhilas Jai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya-lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajaka Charyashta Taro Sadar Shishi Mad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajaka Charyashta Taro Sadar Shishi Mad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunashi Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dash Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavarenya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Sri Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Sri Koladvip Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Manarani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Goa Gopi Govardhan. Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.